Hey everybody, I'm your host Cal, and I'm here to talk to you guys about character design.
Before we begin, I just want to remind you that all art shown in this video is drawn and owned by me. Whoever steals it, I will find you, and you'll wear a sign that says you stole it. I'm not joking. Characters are a defining point in almost all forms of media where they appear. Characters are also one of the harder things to design. Unlike set pieces like backgrounds and props, characters actually have to act. They have to look the look, talk the talk, and walk the walk. One of the reasons that characters are so important is because they are often the face of whatever media they appear in. A well-designed or poorly designed character can be the difference between success or failure. Designing characters requires you to ask and answer a lot of questions.
How many characters do you need? Who is this character? What is their reason for being there?
And so on and so forth.
When it comes to designing characters, there's a few different ways to do it. Some people prefer to write down everything in a Microsoft Word document or even a pen pad or something like that. Some people prefer to just draw the characters and think up a backstory later.
First, let's talk about writing a character. Ideally, you're going to want a notepad, a computer, a typewriter, or something that's capable of writing. Or you can use a device that connects to dictation software, so that the machines will do all the writing for you. Sometimes it pays to flesh out a character before you start drawing them. Some people start out knowing exactly the kind of character that they want to write. Other people, not so much. Focus on the core aspects of the character. What the character looks like, what the character's role in the story is, and what the character's motivation is. You can also add whether the character is good, evil, neutral, whatever. Once you get these core aspects down, things will get a whole lot easier in the design process. Obviously, these core aspects don't tell you everything you need to know about the character. That's okay. There will be time for specifics on backstory and things like that much later. For now, just focus on planning the character out. I prefer to use a Word document, but that isn't the only way to do it. This can be done in a Microsoft Word document, a spreadsheet, or written out on a piece of paper if you prefer. You can even find sheets specifically meant for character creation online. As always, I encourage you guys to do whatever works for you. Now we're going to talk about drawing a character. This is where a sketchbook, pen, and pencil will come into play. Of course, you can still do it digitally, if that's what you prefer. One thing to keep in mind is that the final product might not look like what you originally intended. This actually isn't a bad thing. Usually, a character will go through multiple design concepts before they reach their final look. So don't be surprised if the design you end up with doesn't look much like your original vision. You'll usually have some idea of whether you want the character you draw to be good, evil, neutral, something like that. Their alignment should show somewhere in their design. A popular way of doing this is to show villains as having much more angular, sharper features, whereas hero characters tend to have more round features. For example, Scar's character in The Lion King is actually a bunch of triangles, whereas Simba, Nala, and other characters that are on the good side are much less angular. Because this design approach is so common, people have come to expect that sharp characters are usually villainous. However, some characters are designed so that they exploit this factor and turn it on its head at the same time. More and more, we are starting to see characters who are largely sharp appear on the good side, whereas rounder characters are starting to appear on the bad side. This evokes a sense of tension from the audience, as they are unsure who to root for at any given time. The good guys might actually be the bad guys, and you'd never know it until it was too late because they are designed to look like good guys. Let's say you've got a good solid concept for a character. There's only one problem. You're not sure how it's going to fit into your storyline. When I'm stumped on certain things, I like to try to draw a character in a situation that I would like to see them in this case, in a destroyed building. Seeing them in a specific situation can actually help you flesh them out a little bit more. If they fit into that scene, odds are it's the right place to put them. If they don't fit in, maybe you can find another place for them. Sometimes people will combine both drawings and writings together to form a character sheet. Character sheets often include a lot of information about the character in question. They often feature art of the character, and frequently include in-depth information, such as the character's age, what their name is, and a little bit of their backstory. Character sheets have a lot of range as far as complexity, content, etc. This character sheet, for example, shows the emotional states of the character on one side, details information on the other, and includes a front and back view of the character in the middle. This character sheet features an in-depth explanation of the character in question's history. It even goes into specific details, such as what type of armor it wears, the caliber of its machine guns, vulnerable spots, and other things. And this is a very basic version of a character sheet. There's only one view of the character, limited information specifically related to the character's armor specs, but nothing about the backstory, age, anything like that. Character sheets tend to take a lot of time because they're a combination of art and text. It takes a while to create both, and it takes a while to organize them. The key that I've found to creating an effective character sheet is to find the right combination of information, art, color, and space. Make it something that people want to look at and want to read.
Of course, there is the all-important question of when to scrap a character design. Usually this tends to come when you can't adjust a character any further, when they don't fit into the story that you're trying to tell, or they just don't work with the background, or they don't mesh with the other characters. After all this hard work, it really sucks to have to cut a character design out of something completely, but there are times when you just can't get around it. If you can't make adjustments and can't make it work, maybe it wasn't meant to be. Believe it or not, this happens all the time. Tons of movies, TV shows, even video games, especially video games, have had characters that existed no further than their concept art designs. It's even happened to me. I can't count the number of characters that I've had to cut for various reasons. With all that being said, don't ever throw away your old character designs. They might be useful later. You never know when there's a void that needs to be filled, and an old character might just be the very thing that needs to fill it.
Want more art tips? Leave a comment or subscribe, and be sure to check out my art tips playlist for more videos that I've done. If you want to see more art, visit my DeviantArt page. The link is in the description.
And I'll see you next time, art peeps.